So look, you guys are out in the regions, and you've been in the agricultural business for a long time. Richard, maybe just tell our audience a little bit about Kalfresh and where you started and where you got to and where you are now.
Kalfresh was a farming business started nearly 25 years ago, 25 years this year, and it started in Kalbar, where we live. It's in the Fassifern Valley, towards Warwick. What it was formed for, it was about creating an opportunity for the farmers of the areas to get together and build a sustainable business where they had strength. And the idea around that was giving some consistency of supply to our customers, both in quality and service, and then that gave them a lot of strength and built ourselves a very defendable business based around supplying commodities to feed the nation. Basically, you have to be a large supplier of vegetables, and being a large supplier of vegetables, to be consistently soon reached out to other areas, being the Lockyer Valley, Bundaberg, and now Bowen, Stanthorpe and Liston, to get some geographical diversity. So the core mission of the business is about creating a sustainable, exciting future for anyone who grows vegetables that works with us, as well as our own farming business.
Tell us maybe a little bit about, because you've grown from a very small business in the mid to late 90s to a business that's very big and employing a lot of people, not only in production but also in processing. Tell us about that sort of the benefit to the regional economy in terms of what you've been able to achieve.
Yeah, the benefit to the regional economy is huge, because as a commodity supplier, everything you focus on is about saving cost. It's about, the only thing you can change is cost. So we quickly learnt that we needed to become a vertically integrated supplier and basically get from the farm all the way through to the consumer. And the closer we got to the consumer, the more we had to spend, but the less we were focused on cost and the more we focused on revenue meant we needed to employ a lot more people, a lot smarter people. You end up with more officers, you end up with a different range of people working in your company. They bring in different skills, different perspectives, and like Chobani, we made a decision early on, everyone has to work at the factory, so they get a real feel for what it is to be involved in farming.
So how many people are involved in your business now?
So currently we have 200 people who are permanently engaged. Most of them are permanent, some are full-time casual positions with 417 visa workers that have to stick to a 6-month work rotation. And then in peak season, when we have field picking, it gets up to 1,200.
Right. And what would you say, I mean, carrots are a commodity product, there's carrots everywhere. What would you say separates, why have you been able to grow much more substantially than, say, the other small businesses that are in the region or in other regions? What's the unique difference that you've been able to bring to the business?
Education was where it started. So the bigger the role and the more vertically integrated you get, the smarter you need to be. So I had to catch up pretty quickly. Yep. So a lot of the education courses I was doing were really focused on vertically integrating your business to build strength. It was at a course in Dallas where they said, well, if you can't employ the people you need, you don't need them full-time. Look outside your scope of who you employ today and who are the people around you. What skills do you have? As long as they have the passion and drive the same that you have, bring them in. A few of the people that I met in America summed it up really easily as you don't have enough females in your business. Yep. Which was true, because they didn't like driving tractors that much, and so we thought, well, if we're going to get closer to the consumer and we're going to add value to these products that we grow all day, every day, we need to team up with some really smart ladies, and luckily we were married to them. And we said, well, because at the time it was a big investment decision for us. We had to put $3.5 million into a processing facility. We'd tried using someone else off the farm and it didn't work. And we thought, right, we need to do this in-house, proceed with confidence. We've got this great production strategy, but we need to execute well. And the way to do that was get access to retail shelves in Australia. And exactly what Chobani said, our packaging was our marketing. We needed to get the message clear. And these were skills that I didn't have. So I came back from this course in America and I went, right, this is what we need to do, this is what we're going to do, we're going to get the money, we're going to spend it on that. Can you help us?
So that might be a great segue over to you,
Sure.
Alice, because Alice is a journalist, an awarded journalist, and really specialised in communication and certainly telling the story. So Alice, that must have been an interesting conversation in the early days around coming in part of the family carrot business.
Yeah, so when I met Richard, I was actually a journalist on the Gold Coast, and I'd previously worked in Sydney, and I was always in that sort of popular media, sort of Women's Day, The Telegraph, and my job and my passion was to tell stories, and what I knew about vegetable farming we could fit on a postage stamp. Like I knew I went to my supermarket and bought my vegetables, but I gave no other thought to what had come before. And then through my relationship with Richard, I obviously got to know and understand and appreciate just what went into producing fresh food. And I think I realised that I wasn't the only one that found it quite fascinating when I took Richard to a newspaper Christmas party, and there were people lining up to talk to him to ask about why their tomatoes, weren't growing particularly well at home, or, how did he harvest the carrots and things like that. So I knew there was interest there, but I also knew that carrot farmers see their product as a commodity, and carrots, are the highest selling vegetable in Australia, but they're a commodity. You don't go to the store and sort of form a relationship with the carrot. You just buy it and do what you do. But I saw carrots, and our group saw carrots in a very different way. We looked at it and saw the stories. So we saw that it was, 100 days in the ground. It was a story that never went like this. There was an up and there was a down, and the weather. You were in this relationship with the weather. And I knew that farmers have amazing skill and love and knowledge of what they do, but they don't necessarily like to talk about that in a forum like this or at all. And so we decided to take those stories, I guess, and help people understand them and engage with them. So the proposition was, hey, we need a customer-focused team. Are you interested? And if the project was reliant on my knowledge of farming, we wouldn't be here today. But I like to shop. I did the grocery shopping, as did all the other women on our team. And we knew what grabbed our attention in the stores, what our problems were, which was, I'd pick up the kids from sport or after-school care, 5:30. They'd be absolutely starving. We had a long drive home. I wanted to feed them something healthy, but invariably we'd end up through a fast food drive-through. I needed to get dinner ready in 15 minutes. How was I going to do that? The trend was definitely going towards grab-and-go healthy options, so we decided we'd tap into that. Our team around us, it was 5 women who were married to either farmers in the business or to our managers. Jane came from a background in financial services marketing with Deloitte and PwC. Jen is a lawyer and local government manager. Tracy had a background in banking. Vicky, school teacher, and myself, a journalist. So together we brought amazing skills that really complemented each other. We didn't really have a job description. We didn't know how this thing was going to work, but we just got in and gave it a go. So we talked about what the pack sizes should be, what the first products should be, what was going to stand out on the shelf. So we went and did a lot of trawling through supermarkets and realised it was basically a sea of green in the fruit and veg section. How are we going to stand out? So we decided, well, let's put a white top on our bags. That sort of jumps out. We went and did a lot of rearranging of shelves on the sly and took photos to see how our packaging was going to shape up on the shelf. And it's been an interesting journey, really.
So that's I mean that's a great story, because you've got, you know, these blokes who are great carrot farmers and great at running a carrot business. And I know, Richard, we were talking off before around the challenges when you've got a commodity product of trying to create a brand and get that brand, you know, into a retail environment where, you know, there's only 2 customers, which is very different to Nikki's story where there's lots and lots of customers. So I guess you at some point made a decision, and maybe that coming back from Dallas, that you had to do something different to try and take hold of your future. Is that right?
Yeah, it's creating your destiny the way you want it, and then you can all too often go and spend a lot of money on research and be the innovator, and then just end up with instant competitors. So we thought, well, it was too big of an investment to make without controlling our destiny. Everyone can have a great strategy, but unless you can execute that strategy, you may as well not start. So getting shelves right, getting a field service team out there to make sure it's actually on the shelf, it's ticketed right, it's priced right. In Australia, there's significant challenges. So I said to my wife and the rest of the team, I'm willing to go and say, this is our only option. There is no investment, there is no product unless we get to control the startup phase. And knowing that I had a capable team to execute, it was an easy decision, so we did it. The landscape is still tough. Like, there's some amazing food producers in Australia that can invest in regional areas, add value to the crops that are grown immediately around them, just like what happened in Idaho with Chobani. They're fantastic stories for those regional communities. The retail landscape is constrained. There's not only 2, but you know, there's 2 big ones and a few others. But it's very hard to take a brand and insert it into a retail market where there isn't currently branded product, and it's a significant challenge. We could be doing triple the amount of products. It doesn't really matter that we've got 44% growth in the last quarter on our sales. It doesn't matter that, you know, your connection, I think we were the second most watched online story at ABC through the December month. None of those things seem to be able to help us expand our branded range in the produce. So that's a significant challenge for us in the future.
And look, I think the thing that's really inspiring about this story is you've been able to tap into external resources, which were actually not that external, and identify some insight, and then execute that, and that's helped to secure your future.
Look, I think a big part of what's differentiated us is our story. So we told the story of, our USP is that we take the carrots that aren't supermodels and give them new life. So we take all the wonky, split, funny shaped carrots, and by the time we've shredded them and cut them into sticks, no one would be any the wiser that they, you know, used to be ugly, is basically our story. And that was a story that really resonated with customers because A, it was the wives, B, they're helping reduce food waste. So a lot of those carrots previously would be fed out to the cows out the back or would go to waste, and people don't like that. So that has really resonated with people, and subsequently we have had a lot of support. So people say to us, you know, I didn't think I would buy a product like yours because I thought it meant I was lazy, but now I know your story. I'm more than happy to support you, and I want to support you. And they tell their friends, and you know, it's been great.
Awesome. So look, that's been a great story. Please, when you get home, Google the Kalfresh ABC story. Watch the story. It's a short video, and it's a really great story. So please join me in thanking Richard and Alice.